It is morning for me. I think that's going to be a bad habit where I just automatically say good morning. And I don't even know what time it will be when you watch this. So maybe I should start by saying hello. Hello, my Jupiter. Anyways, I just finished doing some tidying up at the studio. And I am going to teach you a little yin sequence today. So, things to have ready. Again, this is minimal props required so that we can practice at home, or we may not have a bunch of yoga props laying around. Another thing is I will be showing you the postures, and then I'll give you a cue that you can pause the video. And then if you have a timer on your phone, you can use a timer on your phone to decide how long you want to be in that pose for, so that everyone can practice at their own pace. Practice what feels good in your body. If you have more time, or you want to spend more time, or you like these postures, you can spend longer in them. If you want to spend less time in them, you can. Also, we have some of our yin playlists on Spotify. So if you go to our Spotify page, our yin playlists are there. If you want music already kind of curated for our yin practice, this is going to be a hip opening practice. So we actually have a playlist called Svadhisthana Yin, which is a yin playlist that is for the sacral chakra. I think the last thing I'm just going to say before we get going is I will try to offer some modifications or options. When we practice yin, it is not an alignment-based practice. So this isn't, sometimes when we're doing more challenging asana, there are reasons why our alignment, aspects of our alignment might be more important, especially if we're trying to cultivate strength in a specific muscle group, to allow us to make a specific movement in our body. But our yin practice is not an alignment-based practice. So the way that the body is shaped very backwards to how I intend to say that. The shape that my body makes is not necessarily the shape that your body makes. We have different skeletal proportions. We have different soft tissue proportions. So I think it's more important for you to play with the positions, make sure that it feels good. I can let you know where the focus of this stretch is intended to be for the specific yin flow that I'm teaching, and then you can play around and see if you can feel it there too, maybe. And depending on each person's individual body, if you have a very flexible muscle group in one spot, when we're stretching or lengthening those muscle groups, there's a chance that you may not feel that. There are people who come into full splits and don't feel much of a stretch. There are people that to feel a stretch in splits have to have their feet on chairs or blocks or stools, and their hips below the height of the props that their feet are on. But the intention is not necessarily to feel the biggest stretch that we can possibly feel. It is to feel sensation, so a stretch, and be able to relax into that stretch. So we're going to start by just taking a moment to land ourselves in this space that we're in. Maybe you close your eyes, or maybe you shift your gaze to the floor just in front of your legs. Focus on the breathing. In and out. Lengthen. Big slow breath in. Long, slow breath out. And just notice how it feels in this particular moment. How your ribs expand and contract. Take just a moment here to scan our body. Not looking for anything in particular, just checking in with some of the different sensations that we can feel right now. And then we shift our focus to our emotional body. What kind of mood we're in. And this mood, maybe we check in for a moment. Just be aware of how scattered or focused our mind feels right now. With all of the awareness that we gathered in those 3 check-ins to create an intention for our practice today. Our heart. If you want to join me, you can, in chanting the sound of Om to open our practice together. Like, So all of these poses that we're going to practice for our hip opening yin practice are going to feel slightly different for every person. Again, I just wanted to remind you, just do what feels most right in your body today. We're going to start out with lizard pose. So, to come into lizard pose, I prefer having a blanket under my back knee because I'm a little bit wimpy about my knees being on the floor. I don't love a lot of the sensation of pressure on my knees, and if I don't have extra blanket under my knees, then it is the entire focus of that pose for me. Is trying to move my focus away from my knees, which doesn't always happen. So, coming into lizard pose, I'm going to have the blanket under my knee, and you might want to have like a pillow in front of you. And I'm going to show you a couple of different variations of this pose. So when I say pause, or we can pause here, that's where you might want to stop the video. Well, if you want to hold it more than like 5 seconds, you want to stop the video. I don't know, like a remote control, I guess. I'm like pausing. You're probably tapping a screen to pause it. Anyhow, when I say we can pause here for a couple minutes, I'll give you maybe a suggested time for holding a pose too. Some poses will have different suggestions than others, but do what feels the best in your body. And then we're going to build on one side. We're going to slightly change these positions before we move to the other side. So we'll be on one side for a little bit, just so that you know ahead of time. And let's begin. So I'm going to bring my right foot forward first. So depending on how this already feels here, I might even just look around the top of our pelvis and just start to get, when I kind of make my low back a little bit longer, I get a nice stretch into my quadricep. So I might be right here. This is the muscle group that we're kind of focusing on in this pose. It's like hip flexor, quadricep. Depending on your body, you might get a little stretch into your hamstring, depending on how you move into the pose too. Different variations of this pose will feel different. So this could be a yin pose right here. You could have hands on the thigh. You could settle into this pose. And you're welcome to close your eyes. And if it doesn't feel good for your balance, you don't have to, but maybe we find a spot to bring our gaze nice and soft. I could do this same pose with my foot a little farther ahead. Throw in a little bit more sensation. I could bring my hands down to a pillow or a floor on the inside of my front foot. I could bring my forearms down to a pillow or the floor. So you can find which one feels the best for you right now. And we can pause. And we can hold for about maybe between 2 and 5 minutes, depending on how this feels in your body today. So we're not going to come all the way out of this pose. I'm assuming that you just held the pose for as long as you wanted to. If you didn't, here's your chance to pause again. We're not going to come out of this pose before we move to the next one. What we're going to do here is roll to the outside edge of our front foot. From here, maybe bring my hand to my knee. From here, I'm going to move this pillow out of the way because I don't want it. I need my hand right now. Maybe I reach back and hold my back foot. And again here, you can hold here for 2 to 5 minutes, depending on what feels the best in your body. If we chose the version of this that is right here, we could do similar. So I could have my hand on the outside of my knee. I could be reaching back towards my foot, but not pick my foot up off the floor. I could pick my foot up off the floor and hold it. I could pick my foot up off the floor but not hold it, which will probably be comfortable for less amount of time because it's a little more active because we're holding our foot up by contracting the muscles in our legs, not by supporting with our hands. So find the version of that one that felt the best in your body. And we can hold again for between 2 and 5 minutes. And you can pause the video. So coming out of this pose here, we bring that foot all the way back down. We're going to come into pigeon pose. So pigeon pose can be practiced lots of different ways. So one of the ways we might do this is just take our front foot, kind of walk it over across the mat, bring our knee down towards the floor, bring our hips down towards the floor, and come forward, because we're doing a yin style practice. So we're going to try to make this so comfy that we can relax into the posture a little bit. So here's one version. We could take that pillow that we maybe have, our little throw pillow, whatever we're using, and tuck it underneath our hip and be here. Sometimes I really enjoy tucking a pillow underneath my back leg. This usually feels probably the most relaxing in my body. Another option is to come into a different variation where instead of having our foot out behind, and this foot can, or the knee or whatever can be supported, it can be closer into my legs, kind of make it work for you, see what is comfortable. And then again here, we could come forward. And sometimes coming forward is just hands on the ground. Could be hands on the knees and just kind of slightly rocking our pelvis forward. Or it could be coming all the way down to forearms. It could be coming all the way down to head resting on the floor. So find a variation again that feels the best in your body right now. And we'll pause for about 2 to 5 minutes, hold this pose, and then we'll come back. Out of this pose, pigeon or this modified version, and we're just going to stretch our legs out long in front of us, half on and half off the blanket. Pause and take a couple of breaths. You can even have hands in behind us. And just notice what it feels like to leave those positions. Same 3 poses on the other side of our body. So, spin around here. This time I'm going to take my left foot forward. So again, I could come into this kind of little lunge here where I'm really thinking about lengthening my low back a little bit to start to get that stretch into the front of my right thigh. Another thing, I only just thought of this right now. And if I was thinking more clearly, I would have offered it in the last, round of movements, but I wasn't even thinking about it. Especially if you're feeling like your balance is a little bit off. We can always have a chair or something beside us too, so that we feel like we're able to relax in this pose. But also, chair in front of us and come forward. So there's lots of ways that we can modify any of these positions. So we're going to find our way into the version of the posture that we want to practice right now. And we'll pause for 2 to 5 minutes and then come back. Moving into the next pose. We're going to let the left knee come out to the side, roll onto the outside edge of the front foot. Maybe the hand comes to the opposite knee. Maybe we reach back to grab the back foot. Maybe we're up here. Maybe we're twisting. Okay, it's just foot today. I went for a big run last night with my daughter. Today, I am feeling it. We could be here. We could be just here, reaching for the back foot. So, you can find which version of the pose you'd like to be in here, and we'll hold for 2 to 5 minutes and come back. So coming into pigeon pose on this side, and our left leg will be our front leg this time. Or we could come right down to the ground, or we could pillow and use it wherever it feels the most comfortable. Or we could, again, swing around and do that modified version where we can use the props in whatever way to make this the most comfortable. And then come forward. You can hold this pose for between 2 and 5 minutes, just like the other ones. And then when you come back, we'll move into something else. So coming out of those 3 postures on that side, we can stretch our legs out, pause, get comfy. Just notice how our body feels to lead those series of postures. And when you're ready, we're going to come into our next couple of poses. So, going to come into a posture that might be super accessible right off the hop, or might be really uncomfortable. So one of my offerings would be to just, sitting with your legs crossed like this is already a lot. Maybe we just sit with our legs crossed. We can support knees with pillows. If I had, I wanted to support my knees, I could pause it, I could grab 2 pillows and then maybe about the same size, and then support my knees. So this would be one version. Another version of this movement could be, another version of this movement could be that I take my front foot and I might kind of start to stack it on top of my left leg. So it could be kind of right about here. And I can rest my foot and I can hold. So not quite a half lotus. Sitting with my foot on my shin, not my foot on my thigh bone. And then the pose can continue to move again. So we could take our bottom leg and kind of scooch it over a little bit, bring our foot a little bit farther away from our groin, make our shins kind of parallel, stack one leg on top of the other. And we could also choose to support with pillows. I could have a pillow under each knee if I wanted, and like a pillow under here too. So that is an option. Find my way into the version of this that feels nicest. This could be a whole heck of a lot, just like this. So I might stay just right here. Or if you wanted to, if it felt like it was a nice addition to the posture, we might start to maybe like walk our hands forward and fold over our legs. We could stay here for 2 to 5 minutes in whatever version feels the most comfortable for us, and then we'll meet up after you pause. So coming out of this pose, I'm gonna walk myself up. I'm gonna help my legs all the way back out in front of me. Pause, feel my body. I'm gonna find a position on the other side of my body. It doesn't have to be the same. It's not intended that both sides of our body move into perfectly symmetrical positions. We're gonna come into it like it's a brand new pose and really feel our way out. So again, we might sit cross-legged, but if we're sitting cross-legged, we're gonna go, whatever foot was in front the last time is now gonna be inside, we could be right here. We could have foot maybe come up to rest on the lower leg bones. We could have maybe foot come to rest on the opposite knee. We could have supports in under us, wherever we would like them. And then if it is comfortable in your body, if it feels nice, you could start to fold forward over your legs. So once you find the right spot, we'll pause the video, hold for 2 to 5 minutes, and then we'll come and meet at the other side of this pose. So coming out here, we'll bring ourselves all the way back up. So I'm going to bring my legs apart. They can be as far apart as you want them to be. And we might feel just like a hint of a stretch on the inside of our thighs before we start moving. Now let my feet relax. So a habit, I guess, is from my active practice is kind of automatically like pushing through my heels and pulling my toes back. But in our yin practice, I'm gonna let this relax. Again, I have the blanket underneath me when my sitting bones push into the floor, especially when I'm holding this for a while. It becomes the whole focus of the posture for me is just that my sitting bones are pressing into the floor. It's where I can feel the most pressure. It's most uncomfortable. If you felt that in your heels, the most, then you might bring like something like a thin blanket or something underneath your heels for a little bit of extra cushion. If you feel it solely in your hamstrings and it's too much, you could bend your knees and like roll up a towel and tuck it under your knees. If you had, if this was all in your back, we might not come too far forward. We might just kind of think about sitting up nice and tall and staying like this. So just feel free to play with it. So the focus of this posture, the intended stretch would be hamstrings and back, both at once. When we come into it, we could come into it so that our hands stay on the ground. As we come forward, we could come into it so that our hands hold our legs. So you'll have to play around with and see what feels the best for you. We could have arms come to the ground, forehead come down. We could grab a chair. Come down to rest on our chair. So lots of different options. So find which one feels the nicest for you. We'll hold this pose for a little bit longer than the other ones. It's going to be our last pose for this practice. We'll hold it for between 5 and 10 minutes. And then after you pause and do your hold with your timer, then I will meet back up with you. Out of this pose. Right before we landed in this pose, I had said that this would be the last pose of our practice, and that was not entirely true because I got skipped ahead in my mind a little bit, and we have one more pose that we're going to practice before we leave these poses. So I'm just going to come down on my back and a couple of different things. So we're going to think about stretching the outside of our leg. So we did a little bit of inner thigh, we did hamstrings, we did quadriceps, we did lots of movements, but we haven't done anything really targeting our outer hip muscle yet. So we're just going to finish up with that. So depending on what feels good for you, whenever I'm going to let my knees shift one way, I find it the most comfortable to lift my hips first and shift them the opposite way that I'm going to move them, and then let my knees come down. So we could be like right here. We could have our pillow tucked in under our knees. If that feels nice. We could bring knees to the floor. So I'm getting a little bit of a twist into my lower back. I'm getting a little bit of a stretch right here. I could make this stretch here more pronounced by taking my bottom leg and extending it, bringing my top knee closer to the floor. And again, I could do a prop, like a pillow or a blanket under my knee. I could have my knee come all the way down to the floor. That works in my body. May or may not. Does not in my body. I'm going to hold here for maybe 2 minutes. Or maybe more if you want to. No more than 5 minutes probably. And switch sides. Coming out of this pose, we're going to pause before we switch sides. So I'm going to bring my feet back to the ground, my knees back towards the ceiling, hips back in line with my shoulders and feet. Pause. I'll pick my hips up. I'm going to shift them the opposite way this time. Maybe I let my knees come down. And again, I could tuck the pillow underneath. I could have my knees come down to the floor, and I could pause right here. I can even hold my top knee in, even pull this knee in towards my belly more. I could straighten my bottom leg and come across. See what feels the most comfortable for you. We'll hold here again for about 2 minutes, up to 5 if you wanted to, and then we'll come into Shavasana. Pose, come all the way back. In line, hips, shoulders, feet. Notice how it feels to come out of those last 2 poses, those twists. Into comfortable rest pose. So that could be that knees stay bent. That's feeling really nice. We could stretch our legs out long if that feels better. Hands might rest at our sides. Hands could rest on our belly. Hands could rest on our hips. With a blanket, we can play around here and see what feels the most comfortable. For between 5 and 15 minutes. Completely relax into this rest pose. When you come out of it, feel free to stretch and move like you're waking up from a nap, and then move on with your day.